Hey everybody, it's Sean with Competition. This is episode 2 of our Board Track Builder series. We're coming to you from our new location. This is our new R&D facility for competition distributing. This is where we're going to be building all our bikes and doing all of our teardowns and stuff like that. We'll be bringing you all of our episodes of our builds and everything we got going on. So pretty excited we finally get to move into this building. It's going to be a big process. We have a lot of stuff coming in. Well, obviously we got a ton of stuff to set up yet, but this is the first step. So we're going to be getting into the 1919 Board Tracker build series. This bike has already been started. We're doing the teardown. We're actually getting the tins ready for paint. And we just found out recently that the Sons of Speed Vintage Racing is going to be holding a Tennessee Jam at May 29th on the dirt tracks. And we are invited. So our build went from October of this year to now May 29th of this year to be ready by. So our deadline sped up a little bit, which is okay. It helps us get stuff done a little faster than we originally intended, but we're looking forward to it big time. Anytime we get to have these bikes out on the track and actually do something with them is a big thing for us. So we're going to be taking the tins and everything off the bike, getting them ready. We're going to be taking to our buddy over at Woods Goods, Brian O'Neill. We're going to have him paint it. We're going to do a pretty cool paint job on this bike. It's going to be the 33 Bird Monteith, which is one of my favorite paint jobs of the vintage era. It just has a really good look to it, and it's something personally I've always wanted on a bike, especially after I saw a bike like that at Wheels Through Time. So we're going to paint that bike with the Bird Monteith. You'll be following us along as we go over. We'll be taking the tins over to Brian's and dropping them off and, showing a little bit of steps on that end. But the bike is got to get done pretty quick now, so we have to really hurry up and get on this stuff. We were at Ole last week, and it was a great time. We found a lot of good parts. Actually, we found some parts for this bike in particular. We're going to be running a Linkert M18 carburetor on this bike, and Bill Page, who is building our motor for this current chassis, he needed that to finish that motor. So we got that carburetor. We got some other really cool parts at Ole. Got to see a lot of you guys out there. It was a really good time, and just hanging out with a lot of our friends and stuff that we don't get to see all the time. So that was really cool. But yeah, so follow along. We're going to be taking this thing apart, and we'll see what's going on. So here we're removing the bottom of the tank bolts. These are the extra support to mount the tank. And this bike in particular didn't have all the bolts in it, so we're just taking off a few that were in there. There's actually some small spacers as well as the hardware. And these keep the tanks from pinching on the frame rails. Now we're removing the top of the tank hardware. These are the mounts that actually hold the tanks to the frame. They also make oversized hardware for these, so that when your stock stripped out bolts or they just get worn, we could put a tap and drill for a bigger style bolt. We have both available. Now when you're removing these tanks, you have to be extra careful because there's nothing holding either side. So when you take the first side off, you can see I'm holding and make sure that the other one doesn't want to fall. We take this off, inspect the tank, any extra damage or something that we couldn't see. Here we're removing the rear fender strut, and these two bolts, one on either side, hold the fender to the frame. And then there's one more bolt up top that holds it to the rear portion of the bracket. With all the hardware removed, we can take the fender off of the motorcycle and get it ready for paint. Our sheet metal taken off here. I'm going to remove some of the handlebars because we got to fix these, we're going to put the racing spirals on here, so we're going to have to cut these bars down and then run an internal wire control that goes, you know, into the spiral. So it's going to actually, this wire, the throttle control and your decompression will actually go up into the handlebar. So we're going to have to do some modification there. But we're going to get these bars off so we have the ability to do that. Plus, we have to paint all this stuff. All right, with all the bars and everything removed, we have this frame stripped down as far as the sheet metal and the things that we need to work on individually besides the chassis. So on the next episode, we'll go into actually tearing down the full chassis, you know, getting the wheels and tires and everything off and just going over the bearings and stuff like that. And then we can actually start looking into our keys here, because we're going to be running a 1919 motor initially in this chassis. Bill Page is actually doing the 1919 motor for us, and he's going to be doing that first initial motor, and then we also have another motor for the chassis, and we can run for an additional bike. Rob Nussbaum with Retrocycle, who is, you know, another very, very good engine builder in the business. He's doing a 1920 motor for us right now, so we'll have a couple options there. That way we can we have backups, or if we want to build an additional bike, which I'm sure we're going to very shortly, so it'll give us options. So anyways, we're going to plan on the 1919 motor going in here first. So we're going to get some dimensions off this, and I'm going to take this peg here, we're going to move it back, and then also make some changes to this foot peg here. So we're going to laser cut out some new plates, and we'll go through that whole design process and what we have to do there. But this is like, you know, this is the favorite part of this. These bikes are so simplistic, and there's nothing to them, you know. It's just you, the bike, and the motor, and, you know, you're kind of hugging the bike as you're going around. So there's not a lot to them, but there's enough to, you know, go wrong, and it's things you have to make sure that's right, and you got to check everything. So stay tuned, and we'll update you again.